Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. Are you here to learn more about the origin and models of communication? Well, you're in luck, because we the Group 3 are contributing for the charity channel of the Philippines International English School. Gurang Vlogger ng Kuwait. Welcome you in warm hearts. So what are you waiting for? Join in! Good morning, everyone. I'm Fian, and today I'm going to answer 3 of the most commonly asked questions about communication. Number 1, what is communication? Number 2, why should we give importance to it? And number 3, how it originated. Communication is a giving, receiving, or exchanging ideas, information, signals, or messages through media, enabling people to persuade, to seek or give information, and lastly, to express emotions. This also includes body language, skills of speaking, and writing. The history of communication. The word communication was derived from the Latin word communism, which means common, because commonness of understanding is an essential component of all kinds of communications. Without common understanding, communication can create misunderstandings and people may become directionless. Even for day-to-day issues, communication plays a great role in clearing doubts and making the efforts of the people oriented. What is important for us is to understand that in our ancient texts, we have enough reference of non-verbal communication between man, nature, and animals. Communication with nature and animals was considered the best way to reinforce learning in the Indian Gurukul system of learning. Therefore, communication is as old as our civilization. The more you know. That being said, communication can be broadly divided into 3 categories. Number 1, verbal communication. Number 2, non-verbal communication. And number 3, visual communication. Let's ask Dan the definition of these terms.
Thanks, Fian. Hey everyone, I'm Dan, and I'm going to explain to you guys the 3 types of communication. Okay, so number 1 is verbal communication. It is the use of words and languages for interaction between 2 or more individuals. It can be either oral or written, like speaking, listening, reading, or writing, are all classified under the verbal communication. Number 2 is nonverbal communication. It can occur without the use of words. How, you may ask? Well, that is because this type of communication sensitizes our senses. And because of this evoke responses, depending on the way we interpret a particular feeling. It is often referred as body language, gestures, facial expression, glancing, staring, smiling, and raising of a finger are some examples of body language that carry some meaning. And lastly, visual communication. Visual communication is a practice of using visual elements to convey a message, inspire change, or evoke emotions. It is the transmission of information and ideas using symbols and imagery. It is believed to be the type that people rely on the most, and includes signs, graphic designs, film, typography, and countless other examples. So now that we've discussed the 3 types of communication methods, let's have Micaela to talk about the different models of communication to help us understand better.
There, I'm Micaela and I'm going to talk to you guys about different models of communication. Models of communication simplify the process by providing a visual representation of the various aspects of a communication encounter. Some models explain communication in more detail than others, but even the most complex model still doesn't recreate what we experience in even a moment of a communication encounter. These serve a valuable purpose for students like us as they allow us to see specific concepts and steps within the process of communication, defining communication, and application of communication concepts. When we become aware of how communication functions, we can think more carefully through our daily lives, which can help us prepare for the future. So, let's get into the first model of communication. The first is Aristotle's model of communication. Aristotle's model is mainly focused on speaker and speech. It can be broadly divided into 5 primary elements: speaker, speech, occasion, audience, and effect. Aristotle's communication model is revolving around the speaker, as the main concept of this theory is that speaker plays the most important role in communication and is the only one who holds the responsibility to influence his or her audience through public speaking. It is the speaker's role to deliver a speech to the audience. The audience is passive, influenced by the speech. This makes the communication process one way from speaker to receiver. The second is Shannon Weaver's model of communication. In 1948, both Shannon and a mathematician and scientist Weaver joined together to write an article in Bell System Technical Journal called A Mathematical Theory of Communication, and also called as Shannon-Weaver Model of Communication. This model is specifically designed to develop the effective communication between sender and receiver, and find factors which affect the communication called noise. At first, the model was developed to improve the technical communication. Later on, it's widely applied in the field of communication. It deals with various concepts like information source, transmitter, noise, channel, message, receiver, channel, information destination, and code and decode. Now that we've discussed two of the most relevant models of communication, John Landwehr will explain the rest of the models of communication.
I'm John Landwehr, and I'll be the one discussing about all you need to know about Osgood-Schramm model of communication and Berlow's model of communication. So, the Osgood-Schramm model of communication. This model is built on the theory that communication is a two-way street with a sender and a receiver. Charles Egerton Osgood thought that communication was circular rather than linear, meaning that it required two participants taking turns sending and receiving a message. Later, Wilbur Schramm talked about the model in his book, The Process, the Effects of Communication, adapted the model, and added the notion of field of experience or commonality to the mix. In the Osgood-Schramm model, messages travels back and forth between the sender and the receiver in the way of the sender. In this way, the sender can deliver one message and then become the receiver getting a message. The Osgood-Schramm model has benefits and drawbacks. It provides a straightforward approach in communicating, with the sender and receiver trading roles back and forth in a circular pattern. It makes both parties to contribute equally, which confirms that the messages has been received and decoded. However, this communication model is sometimes impaired by semantic noise, differences and misunderstandings that cause a message to be interpreted differently than it was intended. Lastly, we have the Berlow's law of communication. In 1960, David Berrio postulated Berlow's sender-message channel receiver model of communication from Shannon Weaver's model of communication. They are sender, message, channel, and receiver. Each of the component is affected by many factors. He describes factors affecting the individual components in the communication, making the communication more efficient. The model also focuses on encoding and decoding, which happens before sender sends the message and before receiver receives the message respectively.
So now that we have finished discussing about communication and their importance and relevance in today's society, it is time to bid a goodbye to you all dear viewers. Don't forget to click the like button, share the video with your fellow classmates, and subscribe for more informative discussions.
See you next time.
See you next time
we
until we
meet
meet again. Hi everyone! Gurang Vlogger ng 3, ang charity channel ang Gurang Vlogger ng 3. Don't forget to click the like button, share the video, subscribe. Good morning, I'm Pian, See you next time until we meet again. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, share the video.